I really don't know what to do in my life. I am uncertain about how to process and respond to the events in my life. To provide some context, I am currently 16 years old and attending high school, where I am enrolled in the 6 most challenging subjects available. I participate in volleyball, my family travels at least once a year, and my parents care for me. I also believe I am their favorite child. While I do not consider myself an unattractive or unfit person, I struggle with confidence when speaking to women in person, and I find social confrontations or phone conversations uncomfortable. For some reason, I consistently view every situation negatively. It feels as if there is no purpose in my actions. I am clear about my life goals and how I aim to achieve them, yet everything I do seems to make little progress toward my desired destination. Although I have opportunities available, I often feel that my accomplishments are insignificant, overshadowed by the achievements of others. In mathematics, I am among the top students in my high school and arguably one of the smartest in my class, but it never feels sufficient. I often hear about my cousin pursuing a mathematics degree, which he commenced at age 15. I have repeatedly asked my parents to help me pursue similar opportunities, but they always offer vague reassurances without following through. I believe I am capable of achieving similar success. However, nothing in school has presented a true challenge, and I yearn for that challenge to validate my potential. Despite being told that I am the smartest person many people know, I am aware that this might merely indicate that those around me lack intellect. Moreover, any praise I receive for my efforts feels insincere, almost as if it is designed to console me about my perceived shortcomings. My achievements seem unearned, given to me without the toil I know I put forth, making me feel as though I am being spoon-fed success. I have recently developed a troubling superiority complex towards almost everyone, including my parents. This attitude has become so pronounced that when I observe my peers in school, my immediate thoughts are about their worthlessness, believing they do not deserve to inhabit the same space I do. I feel a sense of dishonor and disgust, as I fear that when others recount their experiences at my high school, they will mistakenly perceive all students as equals and equate me with individuals I know to be less intelligent than I am. I cannot help but think that I will undoubtedly surpass my parents in intellect, examining how their past decisions hindered their potential. In wanting to maximize my academic capabilities, I despise studying. Each time I engage with mathematics, my sole focus because I believe it is the only relevant subject in this absurd world, I often find myself spending 10 minutes on a problem only to achieve a breakthrough in 30 seconds. This leaves me feeling foolish, questioning why I did not arrive at the solution sooner. Along with the desire to reach my academic potential, I also crave a life beyond studying, attending parties, drinking, and experimenting with drugs. Despite knowing the risks associated with drug use, I desire to escape my reality. At parties, even while under the influence, I observe how everyone seems to project a facade detached from their true selves, all for the sake of appearances. As I navigate the interactions, I struggle to connect with others, often translating them into common movie character tropes. I understand the pretense, yet my friends' increasingly convincing performances make me feel alienated, realizing I have not adopted a similar archetype, which heightens my sense of isolation. After each event, once I regain sobriety, I reflect on how foolish I appeared, questioning my decision to participate in gatherings rather than opting to spend time with friends who enjoy more straightforward activities. I often feel that I have squandered an evening and further derailed my life. Yet occasionally, for just a few moments during a party, a fleeting sense of enjoyment washes over me, only to dissipate, dragging me back into self-loathing and the desire to vanish entirely. I grapple with the reality that my existence cannot be erased, and everything I do carries consequences, be they positive or negative. I recently lost my virginity, expecting that I would be eager to communicate with the person involved. To my surprise, I now wish to distance myself from her and her friends, even though I engage with them daily. I anticipated a shift in my perspective toward them. While this individual possesses certain attractiveness, the stigma surrounding her due to an incident at a party burdens my thoughts. Additionally, a month and a half ago, someone I genuinely cared about ended our connection unexpectedly. I envisioned a future where we would share the remainder of high school together, but after several months of developing a friendship reminiscent of a prelude to a relationship, she abruptly cut ties. This felt sudden, especially since I had shared my first kiss with her just 2 weeks prior. Our paths diverged due to athletic commitments, with neither of us hanging out after she returned from the holidays. Following her return, I reached out, but she became unresponsive, leaving me in confusion. I attended a New Year's celebration, hoping for a chance to reconnect, yet she made no effort to engage with me. I should have approached her, knowing our relationship was strained. My frustration grew, leading me to express my feelings, which resulted in her termination of our connection after highlighting behaviors I had been unaware of. Despite her pulling away, I couldn't help but be captivated by her striking appearance, believing that no one in my school could match it, something my friends acknowledged too. Since losing my virginity and questioning whether it was a wise decision, an emptiness has settled within me, causing a desire to sever all ties with my current acquaintances. I long to immerse myself in my studies, aspiring to become an engineer or a physicist, yet I find that goal elusive. I seek guidance on how to transform my life and improve myself. I need to learn how to embrace my humanity without belittling others and strive to excel academically, lacking any clear starting point. This uncertainty is painful, conflicting with my personality trait of being knowledgeable about various topics. Being ignorant about these matters causes me immense distress, pushing me to the brink of despair while reminding me that ending my life is not an option. I desperately seek a reprieve from the relentless pressures of existence, yet every means of escape seems to trap me further in a cycle of despondence and longing for a reason to live beyond merely satisfying my parents. Story 2. My coworker made me believe our abusive ex-manager was coming back to work as a joke. I have no idea what to do. I am a 27-year-old woman, and I have been employed at a resort restaurant for nearly 6 years. This is my first full-time position, and I have been working here since I graduated from college. I do not consider myself a very confident individual. I grew up with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder during a time when it was not as recognized or accepted as it is today. I experienced severe bullying from my peers and felt disdain from adults. It wasn't until I moved to a new school and community and concealed my ADHD that I was able to escape that torment. As a result, I developed numerous insecurities and fears of failure and rejection, which warped my perception of any potential relationship or reputation I could have into something fragile. I became a perfectionist, stressing over the slightest error, because in my mind, my mistakes would always be remembered and eventually ruin everything. I believed that every person I encountered, including my parents and loved ones, would eventually reach a breaking point, and their reassurances of unconditional love or that it was acceptable to err were merely empty words. By the time I recognized how distorted my thinking was, those feelings were so ingrained in my character that I found it nearly impossible to alter them. It felt akin to being trapped in a soundproof room, bound, and forced to observe the chaos from a one-way mirror. Even though I am much older now and have greater control over my ADHD, I still wrestle with these feelings, and it will likely take years for me to heal. When I began my current job, my life transformed significantly. The people I worked with, and those in positions above me accepted me as I was, instilled in me the confidence to believe in myself, and helped me perceive mistakes as simply that, mistakes. After a few years, I began to feel as though I was finally gaining control over my thoughts, and that the insecurities I harbored were not reflective of reality. Then, a man named Kurt became one of our managers. This individual was, and still is, the most toxic person I have ever encountered. Honestly, his behavior was so appalling that it felt like he belonged in a superhero cartoon where the villains are crafted to be completely unlikable. He brought every single one of my insecurities to life. If I made a blunder, even something as minor as stumbling over a crack and dropping a plate, he would respond by shaming and belittling me. Numerous times, he would go so far as to punish me through public humiliation in front of guests or coworkers, or restrict my ability to take breaks. He was never around for the 95 of my shift when I was performing well, but would mysteriously appear behind me like a dark shadow the moment I made an error. This man even kept a personal journal where he documented each mistake I made on its own page. I experienced multiple panic attacks during shifts from the overwhelming anxiety of trying to gain his approval or receive any praise. It felt as though nothing I did mattered and that no one cared. By the time he was terminated, whatever semblance of myself existed before his arrival had vanished. Moreover, my anxiety and insecurities are even worse now. All I can think about is how he resurrected the insecurities I had harbored for over a decade. Furthermore, all the love and enthusiasm I once had for my job evaporated, leaving me in an endless cycle of feeling insignificant. I spoke about Kurt and his treatment of me so frequently that my boss insisted I needed to move forward and forbade me from mentioning him. My coworkers are fully aware of how I feel. About a week ago, I was working the night shift as a host alongside a few of my coworkers. I had just returned from the restroom when my coworker, Karen, informed me that Kurt was coming back to work with us. Given my history as the target of such jokes, I immediately dismissed her claim, laughed, and asked for the truth. A few other coworkers confirmed that it was indeed true and that they had just seen him moments before. I inquired again, more seriously this time, if it was a joke and requested them to stop. They did not relent, and I began to believe it. If it were a mere joke, why would they persist with it for so long? 10 minutes later, Karen repeated it, to which I reacted angrily and very loudly with a reprimand to shut the hell up. She continued to joke about it. As I began to accept that it might be real, I thought about how I could not endure him again, how I would need to search for a new job, and I ended up crying. I rushed to my boss and asked her if it was true. She assured me it was not. Kurt was dismissed for serious reasons, one of which was exceptionally severe. He is currently on the opposite side of the country and far removed from us. I was outraged and asked why Karen and the others would lie about it. My boss mentioned she was unaware and suggested that if it troubled me, I should report it to human resources. Another supervisor overheard our conversation, took me outside for some fresh air, and confronted Karen about it. Apparently, it was all just a joke, but in my opinion, you don't bring something like that up and continue it for over 5 minutes without considering it serious. She did not even retract her statement when I yelled at her. The thing is, Karen has always been exceptionally kind to me. We have collaborated for years, and I believed we maintained a good rapport. Therefore, I do not think her joke was intended to be malicious. She was one of the few who escaped Kurt's wrath, so she likely does not comprehend how severely I was treated or may think I am exaggerating my experiences. At the same time, she completely disregarded my feelings of anger and never thought to apologize. I have conveyed this situation to my parents and a few other coworkers, and they agree it is unethical. My parents are divided on whether I should confront Karen and express my feelings or act as if nothing happened. My coworkers advocate that I need to tell her. Honestly, I do not want to pretend this wasn't a significant issue. I want Karen to recognize that she overstepped a boundary I have and refrain from doing so in the future, but I also do not want her to perceive me as petty for remembering this for nearly a week. This situation has been stressing me out because I could not have made my discomfort more evident. I also feel somewhat betrayed by the others who participated. However, since they did not sustain the joke for as long as Karen did, I assume they did not care as much. Still, I now feel awkward around them as well. I know I have been rambling, and I apologize for that. I am at work currently and find it challenging to organize my thoughts on paper.